So what's up, guys? I'll explain why this is one of the best first cars you can get. So this is actually my first car too. It's a 2000 Toyota Avalon. I mean, nothing special. It's a grandma car. But I'm going to explain why it's one of the best first cars, especially for a teenager or whatever. So we're going to get right into it. So, one of the reasons why I'll say this is a good first car is because the used that made it very reliable. This is when Toyota was still in its peak from the 90s and the early 2000s. So it's fairly one of the more reliable options. They're kinda cheap, a little bit. Depends on where you look. I know on Marketplace you can find these cars for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Just depends. This one here was $2,000, but this was 2016 that we're talking about. So it's been in the family for a minute now. But I would say it's been one of the best vehicles we've ever owned. Has 250,000 miles on the dash, probably 251, and really never had a real issue, but we're going to get to that in a minute. So the only issue, kind of issues I've ever had with this car, I've had to replace the radiator, thermostat, battery. It's normal. Obviously doing regular maintenance, oil change. Just recently got a new set of tires for it. So, I mean, I know there's a few things that I'm missing, but really nothing crazy. I mean, I have done the front brakes. I'm actually about to do the rear brakes, but I would say I've been daily driving it for the past 3 years. Was when it was given to me, and it's been a really good car. So to me, that's what makes it a good car for a young person, especially if they're not trying to go fast, they're just trying to get to school or whatever. This is a good car, and just a little bit bigger than the other cars that Toyota made, sedan wise, with the Toyota name. Obviously the Lexus are different, even though they're still Toyota. But yeah, so I'm going to get and show some things I've done to it and why I still think it's a great first car. So one thing I have done, I got new headlight assemblies because the last ones were fogged over, and new fog light assemblies do got LEDs in them. All of them. There's yellow LEDs in the bottom. Typical Toyota owner. But yeah, so I will say there's not much for headlight assemblies and fog light assemblies you can do. It's mostly the only ones you can get is the OEM style. You can make your own if you know how to do that. I don't. They have how to do that. That's just kind of exterior thing. The last ones were terrible. It made the car look, well, cheap, I guess you could say. Putting these on definitely has made it look a lot better than it did before. Okay, so one thing I have done in the interior, I did put in a aftermarket radio. I wanted Bluetooth, and yeah, it sounds really good. This car had the optional JBL speakers, which are actually really decent. So I will say, if you get one of these and if you like to have decent audio, go with the JBL. We'll find the car with the JBL option. Now, two options, or maybe more, that I am missing. I don't have the sunroof. These cars did come with a sunroof option, heated seats, and a 115 volt plug-in on the back of the center console. I don't have that. I don't know if off of that in 2000. I've seen some with it and some without. So, at that point, I have no idea. But one unique thing about these cars is the dash. Or as I call it, the double-decker dash. So it is really a cool thing to these cars. Kind of makes it a little special, I guess. Even though at the end of the day it's just still a economy car. It even does have a garage opener. It's right there. I don't have a garage, so it's not programmed. But this car does have a lot of cool features. It does have auto third rear mirror. It does have auto lights. Obviously, right over here. Fog light switches right here. Your lights, auto. You do have for your windshield wipers right here. So it's a very easy, I would say it's a really good car to learn on how to drive because it's not too big, but it's not too small. And it has like almost no power to it, which that's what makes it a great car. A car that's not going to break much because it doesn't have like any power. It is powered by a V6 underneath the hood. These cars came standard with the V6, so there would not be no 4-cylinder in the Toyota Avalon. That's what this is. Basically what the Avalon is a stretch chassis of the Camry and the ES300, even though some of the parts are not even interchangeable. So that is one part that is a downfall, is that this car is not really interchangeable with a lot of things. And say if you do have a kid that doesn't care what kind of car it is, this is a great car to do that. But if a kid wants a fast car, whatever, this is not it. This is just an economy sedan. It's not a race car. So, and even though I'm only 20 years old, I enjoy driving this thing. You know, one day I get a fast car, but I enjoy driving this thing. Now, these do come with cloth seats from the factory, and you get the leather. And I do have the leather because I have the XLS, and it does have a passenger bypass right there. We can go inside the trunk. It does not have an emergency release trunk thing for the trunk. So, and on some later years, they do have a lock on those. This one doesn't have it. But a cool feature is in the glove box, there's a valet mode. So, yeah. Okay guys, sorry about that. My camera ran out of memory. But what I was saying is that, so on these cars, they do come with a factory subwoofer that would go right underneath the brake light. They actually sounds really good, especially with a aftermarket head unit. And one cool feature about these cars is that you can get them in a bench seat, which is very odd for a car in the 2000s to do. Obviously I got the bucket seats, but if you find one with the bench seat and leather seats and every single option that these cars come with, you got yourself a hidden gem. I don't think you could get the 115 volt on the bench seat, but I could be wrong. I have no idea. I've only seen one in person and it was at a junkyard, so I have no idea. But yeah, basically the column shifter would be right where the wipers are, and basically right at the bottom where the radio is, it would slip down, so you have a bench seat. Even though I probably wouldn't be comfortable for the middle person, but you can fit 6 people in these cars with a bench seat, which is interesting. Now this is locked. It's the back seat. So I have room for all your friends. I have stuff in my back seat. But it'd be a room for a teenager to have all of his friends back here. So, and say, if they have a bunch of stuff, they have room. And yes, electronically activated trunk. They have room for all their stuff. There's quite a bit of room in here. Yes, I do got a subwoofer in here. But other than that, there's a lot of room. Now on the 2003 and 2004, they do have a wing on them. And their tail lights, basically the brake light are right there, and the reverse light goes right there. So it's a little bit different. Now one thing about these older cars is the paint does start to come off. This one has scratches everywhere. The hood has little spots on it. But other than that, it's okay. But since being a first car, there's nothing wrong with that. Now this is the passenger side. Now one cool feature about these, they got a little pocket in the doors on both of the sides that I have in the rear seats. Now, this is what I was talking about the lock. You could put a valet lock on it, which is very interesting. So, I will start up for you guys so you can hear it run. It's very quiet, but yeah, for a car its age, it's actually really quiet. So, yeah, I'll get that for y'all. So here's it running. I do have a dash cam in here too. Listen to the V6. This is a V6 that makes 210 horsepower. Probably doesn't really make that anymore, but very quiet. Definitely a car you have to be careful so your teenagers won't sneak out. But it's a really great car. Everything does work. They do change on the later years of these. They do get a different cluster. Everyone loves these clusters, so if you like this cluster, they got 2000 to I think a 2002. Don't count me on that. Now, one cool feature too of the XLS. Now, the XLs might come with them. I'm not too sure. But you get this little screen over here, which is really nice. It has your compass, outside temperature, your time, what date it is, the miles per gallon, but you can change that. That's how you change that. And then you change your display, your average speed, fuel range, trip time, instant econ, average econ, and yeah. Even though I think my fuel range isn't accurate, it's because I'm on half a tank and it'd be longer than 130 miles. But you can turn it off. Click the light. Click it once, shows that up. Click it twice, it's a black screen. But personally, I like to have it on because it's a cool feature. This is my touchscreen. I did turn it off so my phone won't connect to it. This is the UAC. This is a dual climate for the XLS. So you got your temp over here and your passenger temp, which is a cool feature. So say if your passenger gets a little cold, he can turn his heater on. Or say if you get cold, you can turn your heater on, and vice versa. So it does have all your modes right here, every single mode. I will say one thing about this car, the heater will burn you out on this car. So yeah. Other than that, actually Yeah, don't mind my dash cam wire, but one cool thing too. Take this out. The visor. This drops down. And that comes out. So almost makes a box, which is very cool. I'm not seeing that in any other cars except for this one, which I find very unique. There is little lights here in the back for your passengers. Now, one good plus to this car, you can see out the back. You can see, so it's a good car to learn how to back up lighting on, just because you have a big window in the rear. Now, that's about it. So I hope y'all guys found this video interesting, and I will see y'all on the next one. Goodbye.